Hello and welcome to GRADD Dialogue. Today my guest is State Treasurer Allison Ball. You know, many of you have seen her, heard her talking about transparency in Kentucky. Also, it's a kind of watchdog agency. You know, she's the first one to tell you that, you know, I'm the one in charge of, transparency to the point that how your tax dollars are spent in Frankfurt. And this days in time, you know, that is everybody's on their mind as far as how we, our hard-earned tax dollars, what does it do and where does it go? So we have Allison Ball is our treasurer. Let me give you some brief bio. She's a University of Kentucky College of Law graduate. Treasurer Ball practiced bankruptcy law and also spent time as the assistant Floyd County attorney prior to serving as a state treasurer. Treasurer Ball is focused on being a watchdog, as I said earlier, for Kentucky taxpayers' dollars. And since taking the office, she has returned a record amount of unclaimed property, and we're going to talk about that. Launched a new transparency website, making it easier for all Kentuckians to find out where your tax dollar goes and which cabinet and who and everything else. And she also started a savings and investment program for the Kentuckians with a disability called Stable Kentucky. Again, Treasurer Ball, welcome on the Dialogue show. You know, we have you have talked to the ed directors in the past.
Yes.
I've seen you in some of the senior citizen centers around the GRADD districts, always talking about, you know, how it's so important for the people to know what's happening, and not only happening in the agencies and the locally as well as state, but also how the taxpayers' dollars goes. But before we start, I want to also make sure that you do talk about the fines. You know, I mean, we call it some of the funds and some of the properties and everything.
Unclaimed
else,
property.
The unclaimed properties,
Yes.
and that's something so important. So again, welcome on the GRADD Dialogue.
Thank you.
Great to have you in Owensboro.
Thank you. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. It's great to be here with you. I know I get to see you periodically throughout the year, and it's great to be here with you in person. So we can talk about unclaimed property to kind of get this thing off going and started.
Yes.
You know, I always talk about my job as being that watchdog role, and you've already said that, and that's true. That's what my job is supposed to do. But one thing that is sometimes overlooked by people is that I'm also in charge of unclaimed property in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and people like to know about it once I start talking about it. It's used to be called abandoned property. Somehow they've lost track of their money or their stock or maybe the contents of a lockbox, and when the person who's keeping track of it can't find the rightful owner anymore, it then goes to me as a custodian. So my job is to find those rightful owners and return it back to them, and I've been really proud. I've returned over $77 million while I've been in office. Which is more than any other treasurer in that same period of time. Wow. I've been aggressive about making sure people get their property back to them. And I'm always telling people, please take a look at missingmoney.com. That's a national database, and you can look Kentucky and other states as well, or you can go to my website directly, which is treasury.ky.gov. But missingmoney.com is a real easy way for people to check and see if they've got unclaimed property.
So it's not just for the agencies like GRADD. Any citizen in the Commonwealth can go on the missingmoney.com and put the information and find out, hey, there was somebody left some money. Maybe I didn't, I had some gift coming that I never knew about it or something.
That's exactly right. And you'd be surprised. People have no idea that they've lost something. And it might have been maybe a deposit they put down for something at one point in time, or a rebate, or just some stock that they forgot that they had. And they forget. So I'm telling people, please check. You may think you have everything, but you might not realize that you've lost something, and I want to get it back to you. And like I said, sometimes it's actually tangible items. I'm doing a big push right now today. The day we're talking is the 75th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. Doing a big push to return some military medals that I have. And we have 5 military medals from one lockbox that are all World War II medals. And we're pretty sure that it's one person who earned each of those medals. And I've been doing a big search to try and find that person. We've got a lead now on who they are, and I think we're going to be able to get it back to them. But I'm always telling people, please take a look, missingmoney.com, and I want to get your property back to you.
So you could be a Santa Claus in some days.
You know, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like being Santa Claus. You know, not always when you're in government do you get to do something that makes people happy. Sometimes you're saying no, but this is a way to make people happy because you're doing something that's the right thing to do.
So it's unclaimedproperty.com, and they can find the
missingmoney.com.
I'm sorry, missingmoney.com.
Yes, yeah, you can find your unclaimed property at missingmoney.com.
Okay. You know, since you became a treasurer, I will have to say that I have seen you in my district more often than I ever seen any treasurer in the past. And I think, with also having the transparency websites, it kind of goes hand in hand, because oftentimes people do not know what happens to my funds, what agencies do and everything else. So I think it is a compliment to you that you are reaching out, even for office, so your side, you're reaching out to really send the message that everything has to be transparent in the state government.
Thank you. I want people to know what the government is doing. That's very, very important. And you have to know, is the government doing what the people want it to do? Yeah.
And this past General Assembly, you were very active. If I remember, you were pushing for the financial literacy issues. Can you talk about that? Also, there were some bills or two that you were proponent for that.
Yes. Well, I've had several bills that I've pushed for while I've been in office, and of course this last session was definitely a busy session for me. And the main focus has been on financial literacy, as you mentioned. I practiced bankruptcy law before I was treasurer, and I really got to see that we have a need in Kentucky to teach people just basic financial literacy principles. Sometimes it's described as financial empowerment, and I love that phrase, because if you know what to do with your money, it really empowers you for your future. And you can make good decisions, and you can be independent, and it's so good for you, it's good for your family, it's good for everybody. So last year, I championed very hard for there to be a requirement for high school students to take a course or a program on financial literacy, and that got passed, which was actually a huge victory. It sounds like a natural thing to do. It should be an easy win, but it wasn't an easy thing to get passed. And I really had to fight hard for it and talk to folks and explain how it would work and the need for it. And it did get passed, and I'm so excited about what that's going to do for the future, because it's going to make a big difference for generations moving forward. You're going to have people who are being launched in adulthood who are going to have the tools to make good decisions on money. A part of that, in my office, I launched a database for my website that shows everything that's available on financial literacy in Kentucky. So it's not just for students. I've got several different segments of our population. I have people with disabilities, the aging adults, adults who are emerging adults who are just in their 20s, or maybe they're college age and they're just going to be making these decisions for the first time. All sorts of people that apply for this need, that need help in this area. So that's a fun thing that I like to push, that you can see what's available now to help you. And interestingly enough, it's probably lower income families and people with disabilities who've accessed it more than anyone else. And then the crowning achievement, the one that has just recently happened, is the Financial Literacy Commission. And that's what it was passed last session. And it's connected to my office, and it's run by a board, and I chair the board. The reason why this is significant is because the bill last year to make a requirement before you graduate from high school to have a course on this, it was an unfunded mandate, as many things are right now, because we just don't have a lot of extra money. So the commission is the way to be able to pay for that. And the commission is going to pay for resources and programs and ways to help me able to teach financial literacy, not just to students, but to other segments of our population.
So the commission, which is, I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
In fact, when you mention about the financial literacy, it kind of reminds me of sometimes we see some late night talk show when they go out in the public and talk about some easy, common sense question about the financial literacy, the money and everything else. And it's so sad to see that, so much ignorance about, how to, do with the money, how you save the money and everything else. But talking about the commission, how the commission has been funded? Is it funded from the state revenues, or you are working with some sort of partnership or something?
Well, that's why I think this is a really great program, is because, like I said, the state doesn't have a lot of extra money right now, and this commission can use state dollars, but it doesn't have to. And it can take money from the private sector. And I've actually got several partners who are involved with this commission, and the first group are the credit unions in Kentucky, and they're going to be paying for it for the next 3 years. They've already signed up, and they're investing a significant amount of money for the next 3 years to make sure this is getting off on a good footing, and hopefully they'll stay with us for many, many years to come. But there's a lot of representations on this board of people who really care about financial literacy. So we've got people who want to fund this, who want to make this successful.
And both initiatives, the commission as well as the the financial literacy requirements, it's going to have a long-term positive impact. Even after you and I are not in the public office, this is going to go on. I think it's going to be a great for the future of the young folks, as well as the Commonwealth as well. Let's talk about the stable, the stable program that you announced as far as the disability folks for saving money.
Yes.
Why so important? Why did you do that, and what's the benefits?
So one thing that I learned when I was practicing law is that you really can't get yourself in a good financial footing unless you can save some money. And there's been a segment of our population that's really been prevented in a lot of ways from saving money, and that's the disability, people with disabilities community. So prior to change in the federal law, people could only save up to $2,000 without it jeopardizing their estate benefits. Things a lot of them actually really depend upon they need. So there was a change in the federal law that made it a possibility for states to be able to create programs to, through their treasury programs, to have savings and investment accounts for these people. And that's what I did. I launched Stable Kentucky, which is a savings and investment program for people with disabilities. And
nice catchy
yes,
term anyway.
Stable Kentucky, that's right. And I always tell people we're a horse state in Kentucky. Horses go in stables, so remember Stable Kentucky. People can go to the website and find out some more information. But in a nutshell, this does two really key things. One thing it does is if you put money into these accounts, they're tax-free at the federal and the state level, and that's some legislation that I got passed that I think is important, so it stretches people's dollars. They need to do that. And then the really significant thing is that you can save up to $15,000 a year with a Stable Kentucky account. So before you could only save $2,000, now you can save up to $15,000 a year in these accounts without it impacting at all any help that you get from the government.
So what have you seen a lot of takers on that? A lot of people getting on the savings?
People get really excited about it when they hear about it, because so many people have just been hampered in what they can do. And one great story, there was a lady who came up to me when we first launched the program, and she had a job. Her particular disability didn't prevent her from working, but she had to have a special van that she used to get back and forth from work, and it had broken down. And they told her it was going to cost more than $2,000 to repair it, and she was crushed because she knew she couldn't save that much money to be able to repair it. And she came up to me, and she had tears in her eyes, so you knew this was really important to her, and she said this was going to allow her to save enough money to get her van repaired so she could keep working and keep her job. So this is a great example of what this does for real live people. It makes a difference.
And I think, you know, agencies like GRADD and people watching this, those who are working and helping the, you know, the citizens, you know, with some disability, you know, we now need to promote the Stable Kentucky, you know, the program. You know, again, you know, that's important to get the word out, because oftentimes, you know, people don't want to go to the maze of all those things, and sometimes, you know, the trust itself. You know, so let's just kind of minute we have to talk about, you know, how people can access the information that you from your office. Along with that, how they can also promote what you are trying to help out, you know, for the common.
Well, you can always check out social media. So Kentucky Treasury, you know, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we have an Instagram. You can always find information that we're doing and kind of get access to us that way. But the website is always a great one-stop shop. So treasury.ky.gov. People can go there and they can find links to other things if they need to do some more search. And then Stable Kentucky is its own website just specifically for this program. So people can go there and they can find it if they qualify, because you have to have a disability, of course, to be able to qualify for it. And they're free accounts to open up, and it'll walk you through how to open up those programs.
And I think let's not forget for you to work with all the state agencies, even the quasi agencies like GRADD and others, and make sure that they are transparent on what they do with the dollars, the tax dollars, and everything else. That's a big job.
It is a big job, and I want to be in partnership with everybody who's trying to be transparent on that, because we've got people like you all over the state who believe in that and want to make sure that people have access to information.
I want to thank you for being on the GRADD Dialogue, and again, good luck to you.
Thank
I know
you.
there is I'm sure, like every political position, there is an election, everything else. Best luck to you. I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
And I think people need to, you know, go to your website and find out some of the programs, you know, they can, or nothing else, you know, maybe find out, maybe they may have some money, somebody left.
That's right.
You know, or it could be, I think you mentioned one time that somebody had some stocks, and that would have been a great value as well. So,
yes, I think you're thinking of the $1.2 million in stocks that we had that one time.
I like to see that, you knock on the door and you got a check for
that's right.
$1.2
That's right. Here you go. You lost this.
Good luck to you. Welcome, you know, and to Owensboro, and you know, hope you have a great day. At the same time, I always enjoyed, you know, working with you and listening to you, all the programs that you do.
Thank you very much.
We've been talking to Kentucky State Treasurer Allison Ball. If you want to find out more about, you know, what the agency does, especially some of the programs that really help and the financial literacy, and also in the stable for the disabled and people to save the funds, you can always go on their website. And I think that the simplest way is to the
treasury.ky.gov.
ky.com, treasury.ky.gov. And please do so. And if not, you can always contact GRADD at the 270-926-4433. And thank you, and have a great day.